Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends. And indeed, I brought some friends. One longtime member making his return debut, another community icon in Dirt Griggity making his premiere debut. Dirt, what's going on, brother? I ran into you at the beginning of last year, and I have been a fan ever since. And you know what? You know what made me stick with your podcast? And it's scandalous, folks. It's when I was watching and he debuted the POS of the week. I nearly fell out of my chair because, well, ultimately, he puts people on that, and that's not the kind of pedestal you want to get on. But Dirt, my brother, how are you feeling, sir?
Feeling good, man. Thanks for the invite. Yes, POS of the week is a very popular segment on my show. We're gonna have POS of the year next month, but yeah, thanks for the invite, man. I'm
Love it.
ready to go ahead and talk about these topics. Thank you.
Yeah, you know what, we have two topics, two very, very powerful topics. One of which we're gonna get into is, of course, the announcement that GTA 6's first gameplay trailer is going to be dropping in December. And you know what happens in December? I don't know. The Game Awards, folks. So I would imagine that is going to be premiered there. We're going to be answering the question, or attempting to answer the question, because none of us have the answer to it, because we're not Xbox insiders. We're just podcasters, of whether or not the dollars make sense for Microsoft to try and get marketing rights. And I think that they should, for a lot of reasons. We will break that down. But we are going to open up the show, folks, with what happened in Xbox. There's been a lot of change in the hierarchy. And of course, Sarah Bond is now the president of Xbox Game Studios, and that's a really, really big deal. But she was just interviewed, and I gotta tell you, I've watched the interview twice. Wow, she is incredibly powerful. She is pointed. She is mild mannered, but you can tell that she hears not only the potential of 3 billion customers that are your casuals, but she hears us as the hardcore. And that's what I love about it. We're going to get into what she had to say and how she actually had to say it. But Kay Asante, how you feeling, kind sir? Welcome back.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. It's been a long work week, but as I enjoy this being the hump day, and we enjoy the joining here with the good brothers at PTG. Welcome, Dirk Riggedy. It's always good to have you in the house. Great hearing your takes. So yeah, man, it's a good time. I'm looking forward to it. What's going on?
Yeah, man, great to have you back. And speaking of coming back, Wandering Dutch, what's going on, brother? You have been busy doing your charity streams, as you do each and every year, and they've been pretty successful. We're happy to have you here to talk Xbox gaming, and of course, what's going to happen in the future with the leadership change under Sarah Bond. How are you feeling? Welcome back, dude.
Yeah. Well, I'm back indeed. It's been a while. It's been a while. I've had to take a little bit of time out and try to reorganize things, and then reorganize this place. But yeah, I'm back. Like you said, doing charity streams this week, finishing with a 24-hour marathon on the weekend.
Good grief.
It's fun. We're doing well so far. But we're doing it for special effect. For anybody who doesn't know, it's for raising money for those with physical disabilities and intensive care units.
Nice.
So that they're able to play video games like us physically abled people are able to do normally, and probably take advantage of. So we're helping do that, and awesome charity. Thank you for those who have donated so far. We're just over the halfway point of our goal already, and we haven't even hit the 24-hour. So that's awesome. So it's great to be back. Again, it's just a timing thing with me these days, and trying to get on top of life. But
life is more important, brother.
missed everybody here. It's good to be back. I'm awake enough, I'm alive enough to be able to jump in this evening. So I'm jumping in, and I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, well, listen, dude. Listen, we missed you. We love having you here. Obviously, we understand. We talk behind the scenes. You need to take a bit of a break, and that's more important. You get yourself sorted out, and making sure that you can, do things outside of podcasting, like real day-to-day stuff. But we're glad that you're feeling better. We're glad that you are here with us. Andy B. Drumming says Sarah Bond needs to fix the reward system on Xbox. Stop nerfing the points, brother. I'm sitting down tomorrow with Ice Steel Rain, and we are going to cover that. That I have a lot of smoke for Xbox. They've done some things. I don't know who's making these calls, but the reward point system has been nerfed, and it is a shell of its former self, and it has been like that for months. They used to have like a bunch of things, like when you buy a certain amount of movies, like me, Mrs. Boom and I, we're movie nuts, right? So I would rent a lot of stuff from Xbox, and you'd get like 2,500 points after you rented 3, which is pretty cool because that's like kind of like getting a free movie.
Yeah, that's good.
They've taken a lot of things away, and I think it's the leadership. And of course, there's been some controversy. Obviously, they were pulling the Xbox Game Pass support from all employees until Phil Spencer got involved, which obviously he's the head of Microsoft Gaming. I'm glad he did. But yeah, Andy, we're going to be covering that in depth tomorrow, so don't sweat that. But Hargeet Chani, what's going on, brother? How the heck are you feeling?
Yeah, so we didn't have an episode last week, which was good because I actually started feeling sick last week, so I had some sort of cold or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And since then, I've just been coughing, so I've been kind of on the mend, but I might have these coughing fits, so I might go on mute every now and then.
Well, don't feel bad because I am currently sick myself.
It's just going around, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you know what happened was this weekend, to celebrate Josette, Mrs. Moon's birthday, we had family over, and they stayed over. And my nephew Tyler, when he came over, he had a little bit of a sniffle. And by the end of the weekend, when he went home, he was a little under the weather. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm taking vitamins. I'm doing all my stuff. And I'm starting to, you can hear it in my voice. I'm starting to I have a cold. So today I kind of powered down. I didn't even do anything. And I'm feeling a little pinch better, but I have like this coughing thing. Like I have water. I have 3 waters next to me. We're going to power through, folks, but we're going to give you a solid show. Dirt. Look,
Yes.
Something happened for Xbox last week that I found to be incredibly powerful. People that are in leadership positions were given their flowers in regards to promotions. One of those promotions came the way of Sarah Bond. She has been at the forefront, one of my favorite executives, not just for Xbox. I mean, just as an executive, a C-level executive that she is as worldly as you could possibly imagine when it comes to having experience. But she's also, when you watch her and you listen to the way she speaks, she doesn't speak like a robot. She speaks like a person. She talks. She comes off as a mom when you hear her talk about her family and her dad and how she plays, Diablo with her pops, like stuff like that. That is the human element about who Sarah Bond is. It's one of the things I absolutely love. He was just interviewed. Now, I know that you said you didn't get a chance to check out the interview, but you and I and the panel haven't had a chance to get your hot take on when she was promoted to president of Xbox. That is a really, really big deal. But her position doesn't stop there. She's wearing a whole mess of hats as an Xbox-centric podcaster, as a fan of the brand. How confident are you that she is going to take Xbox to the next level?
Well, first off, I'd like to say that it's great to see that Xbox is promoting from within. They're actually promoting positions. People are moving up. In my opinion, that's the sign of a healthy brand. Things are going well for them. Fortunately, they're not laying people off at the moment. And people are moving up, and especially to see not just a woman of color, a woman that happens to be a woman of color to get her position. And I've seen some things in the community saying she's a diversity hire. No, this woman has been promoted because she's obviously good at her job. And it reminds me of the FTC case. Remember when everybody was on the stand and Sarah Bond, she had this confidence about herself. She was able to handle any question that they sent at her. You know, she was just cool. And to know that this woman is now the president under of Xbox, I love that because it shows that they trust her and they feel that she's going to do a great job. And I mean, because if they didn't, they wouldn't have gave her the promotion. So I'm happy to see the direction Xbox is headed. I believe we all are happy, and all of these promotions are happening right after the ABK deal was finalized. So that's another thing to think about. But yeah, I'm just happy for her. As a man with 4 daughters, I'd love to see a woman, especially a woman of color, be promoted, and to have the trust of her colleagues, and just to do the best that she can. And I believe she will be great at this position because she's been around for what, maybe 5 or 6 years.
She was hired into Microsoft in 2017.
2017. Okay, yeah.
When she
So
was-
and think
yeah.
about that's 6 years, and she's already at this position. So obviously, she's good at her job, and she's doing well for herself. So congratulations to her. Also, Matt Booty, and also the guy that got promoted today. I can't think of his name. But
Alan Hartman is
Alan
the one that was
Hartman. So
promoted,
yeah, Xbox, they're giving promotions out to people that deserve it, and the brand seems to be healthy. So that's great stuff.
I want you to elaborate on something, and folks, again, we give the slander where the slander is necessary, but I want you to you made a very pointed statement about layoffs, right?
Right.
But I don't want to take it to the layoff situation because we spent a significant time last week talking about how impactful these layoffs are. Again,
Right.
here on Double Barrel Gaming, we push forward the human element. That's one of our biggest. I mean, the whole community at the ground of the channel. That's for real, folks. Like that's not just a line. When we built this channel, it was inclusive. It had to be honest. It had to be transparent, and it had to have a community first outlook. But there are when you talk about Xbox, Dirt, we also have to talk about PlayStation.
Right.
Because they are the direct competitor. They are the market leader currently. When you look at the power moves post ABK that Microsoft continues to make, it's awe-inspiring, especially if you are an Xbox fan. But I got to tell you, from a PlayStation fan point of view, they are leaderless. They have no set goals for the future. We have no idea what they're doing. One company is going up in the elevator, the other one is going down. Let's talk about that for a second, because you talk about PlayStation on your channel, and PlayStation currently, and I say currently, with an asterisk, is in first place because they're not going to be there for much longer. Especially when you hear the interview with Phil Spencer, when he was interviewed with Famitsu just the other day, where he says, "Hey, we are lined up for the next 3 years to have a AAA blockbuster every 3 months." That is telling me that for the next 3 years, there's going to be 12 AAA games in Xbox Game Pass day and date. We have no idea what's coming out in the next 3 months from Sony, let alone the next 3 years. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely, man. Like I always say, Boom, that Phil Spencer had to rebuild the Xbox brand. If you watch sports, sometimes you might have a team that's pretty bad for a few years. Then they might get new coaches, a couple new draft picks, and then they have to start the rebuilding process. It's a little difficult during the whole process. Like, Xbox had some down years where they didn't have many games. But if you're looking at everything now, you just mentioned their roadmap looks incredible. Phil Spencer and Matt Booty said, 4 games per year, 4 first-party games per year. And when they said that, we were like, come on, really? Maybe not. But now we're like, they can definitely meet that first 4 first-party games per year. They can do that. And when you look at PlayStation, let's be honest, man. I have a lot of fun with the console war stuff. I talk a lot of trash, but most of my venom is geared towards PlayStation fanboys. But the PlayStation brand itself, I actually like PlayStation. But you can't not be concerned if you're a PlayStation guy. Some of these guys are arrogant, but you have to look at what's going on. Like you said, they have no leader. They're firing executives. They're canceling games. Some of the previous direction that they were going with the games as a service, now they're saying they might not do that. Well, what happened to Bungie or Firewalk or Haven? Those studios you bought for games as a service. So let's be real. They have console sales, but is that enough? I don't think it is at this point. In 2023, console sales only isn't enough. And we have to be honest. I don't know what's going to happen with PlayStation. Will they turn around? Of course they can, but do they have the capital to turn around? If they go back to their games as a service, if they go back to their single player only games, wasn't that not it? Like, that's not sustainable, right? Because that's what we heard Sean Layden say. Some other people say their games are great, but they're very expensive to make. So we have to look at it and say, what's going on with PlayStation? Because sometimes when there's smoke, there's fire. We heard a lot of stuff going on at 343, and some Xbox guys like, it's a nothing burger, it's nothing. But obviously that wasn't the case, because they did change management, and like 343 is looking pretty good now. So hopefully PlayStation can get it together. But like you said, Xbox, even though they're the third place console, they're looking great right now. They're making great moves. I mean, hell, some people are so upset about it that they said they're going to quit gaming. BoomStick.
They certainly did say that, didn't they? Yeah, they did. If Xbox becomes number one, I'm quitting gaming. Listen, you're going to miss out on a lot of great stuff. I would never quit gaming. I've been gaming since '78, and I'm never going to stop until I'm in the box.
Exactly.
But listen, great points all around. Listen, Kay Asante, I want to bring you in the conversation, but before I do, I got to thank Pip 1006 for the outstanding £2 super chat and says, Machine Games has opened another studio in Sweden. Yes, actually, I'm going to try and incorporate that, because I have some big ideas on what they're doing. Machine Games working it, man. They're doing Indiana Jones. They're doing Wolfenstein. What else are they doing? I don't know, but they have a lot in the tank. Asante, you and I were talking today, as we normally do, talking about Sarah Bond and how powerful of a move this was for Xbox. You said that you took a lot away from this interview. What is the highlight for you personally regarding the Sarah Bond interview?
So and I'm sure a lot of the Xbox people have already seen it. There's been a lot of back and forth about it, and maybe there is no smoking gun or one big element that you saw that you thought, wow, this was that special information that she's providing or something. For me, like you're talking about, it's a level of confidence. But as we know how Phil came in and changed the trajectory of where Xbox was going, you know what I mean? And really put a stamp on it, you can see that there are very big nuances and big differences between his style and hers. How she approaches things and how he does. How he thinks of things and how she thinks of things, right? The person doing the interview started asking various different questions about how she saw gamers and gaming and all of that. And she had a very good understanding of your hardcore versus your non-hardcore versus your quote unquote casuals, right? It almost paints that picture exactly what Dirt was saying, where people are giving that role short shrift. In short order, she shows you that not only does she belong there, she's there with a vision. She has a certain look. She has a certain way that she wants things to go. And now she'll get to more than likely get to put that into action. Like, what I find interesting is what it will look like in her tenure, since you have another gamer on top of her in Phil Spencer. Because all this time up until now, it's like you're either make it or break it depending on who's there, right? And now you got Phil going, he's going to make sure that the rudder is steered. He's not going to let it slide. But does that also mean that his vision kind of stays solid, even if somebody's underneath, right? Phil had a bit more power in that because he knew what he wanted to do and nobody really paid attention in that realm. They kind of gave him the money and let him do what he do, right? So it's interesting to me to see, because it'll be interesting to see, because I see that her style and his is a little different. Not that they go in opposite directions, but she may be a little aggressive where he's more mea culpa, right? She may be a little bit more, hey, I
You're
want
talking about
this
maybe
versus that.
getting those third-party games into Game Pass.
I'm not even going to be any specific because you know that they're working on various aspects, right? But it looks like she's okay. She's okay playing in those waters a bit more than he is, right? And with that makes it very interesting. She another like a big highlight for me, and of course it's self-serving. Big highlight for me is she has said what we have all pointed out a long time ago. The stories all tend to come from the same places, right? You want stories to come from multiple places, give you different kind of styles, different kind of flavor, different kind of flow. So they are investing in those places that you don't normally hear there are developers there, right? And that to me is super exciting. So, you know, the question for me is, am I going to start seeing my native Africans in game development anytime soon, or we're talking next gen? Because they've already started seeding the ground there. They've already started.
She made
hiring
mention in that
developers
interview.
there.
It's funny you say that. She said that
Yeah.
they have made some big hires from
Exactly.
Africa and from
Yeah.
Latin America, which I thought
Exactly.
is brilliant. Yes.
Absolutely, right? Because at some point, we're all going to get a little tired of the sad dad simulators. We're all going to get a little tired of the cinematic bombast, right?
Yep.
And you know it because every time something cool and interesting shows up, it becomes the darling. Even PlayStation plays in those waters sometimes. Oh, here's a game from, you know, some developer that you've never heard of before that tells this story that's uniquely theirs and it captures the mind, right? And more of that needs to come along. And of course, as Microsoft and Xbox now has this huge backing and this huge flywheel of games every month, it's super important that they all shine uniquely. So her thoughts there are super, super important. Now, I will leave it to my panel members to expound further. You know, there was a lot of nuggets in there. There's some racial talk in there that I thought was really interesting. You know, there's some political talk I was super interesting. The woman's got a head on her shoulders, and it's going to be interesting to see where she steers the ship. You know.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I think that the leader that they have in place now is a leader that is. I think you're right. You really hit the nail on the head with the Phil is kind of like, you know, he's just, you know, sit back, chill, Phil, right? That's what he is.
Yes.
If I put it to this way, if you wanted to ever see what a great white shark looks like in human form, I point to when she was on the stand during the FTC case. He was cool as the other side of the pillow.
Yep.
He was stern. He is incredibly educated. I like I said, personally, you know, you always wonder.
All the while Hines was like fumble, bumble.
Oh,
What happened to Hines? I'm just saying. I'm sorry. I had to do
No,
it.
I mean, Hines is no longer part of
Xbox. We got a little
or
salty. You know what I'm saying?
Hines is looking shaky up there, man.
He's a little bit shaky. But
you saw he was looking spooky, and now he's gone.
Oh my goodness!
I'm sorry.
Get out of here.
We love the slander. Spartan661 drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Happy late N7 day." That's right. Oh my god, I forgot it was N7 day. And there was an actual trailer of a. Well, I mean, listen, you could take Shepard and you want. I played as a male. There's a lot of people that played as a female Shep, and they showed a female Shepard, which I guess we can all assume that it's Shepard. I cannot wait. All I can do is pray to the gaming gods that BioWare somehow finds a way to make this as good as the original Mass Effect and not their last one, because I hated the last one. Oh God, I just
Andromeda.
Can't. Yeah, I hated it so much. I pushed the name out of my mind. Let's see. Gamer by Choice drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Hey, Boom added ray tracing to podcast. Wait, hey, Dirt, what's WBG?"
Oh, hey, man, show some respect. I gave him by choice. Show some respect, sir. Thank you very
much. Listen, let's bring in Hargeet Chani. Hargeet, look, the restructuring that is going on, and we know we have to talk about both platforms. Microsoft just closed a $70 billion deal. They are hitting on all switches. They are moving and they are shaking. And if you noticed, There is interviews. Phil did an interview in Japan with Famitsu. Sarah did the big interview. We just got a new hire with Hartman taking over Booty's old spot. I mean, there's all these moves, and it's positive, and it's exciting. And we're hearing Phil saying, hey, listen, you wanted games. We got games for you, one every quarter, 12 in the next 3 years. And he called them blockbusters. He didn't just say first-party games. He said blockbusters, right? And now we take a look at one of the best moves of the year, at least in my opinion, and that is making Sarah Bond president of Xbox Game Studios. She does this new interview. She's pointed. She brings up a lot. I mean, again, I watched it twice because I really wanted to get what she was putting down, and I walked away an even bigger fan than I was before. Let's get your hot take on what on. Did you get a chance to watch the interview?
No, I did. I tried to look for it. I couldn't find it, but
I'll drop it in there. But let's get your hot take on your confidence of making her president of Xbox Game Studios and what she's going to bring to the brand moving forward.
Well, and there's also the other changes, right? So the marketing person has switched out, right? They retired out, and then Matt Booty is now ahead of both Xbox Game Studios, who has a new leader, right, and then ZeniMax. To hopefully coordinate that together, right? So we don't get a Redfall type thing, or just to the sheer number of games to just schedule them out. Look, the excitement is certainly on this side of the aisle, right? If you had to look at it from a gamer perspective, hey, if you just don't pay attention to the industry, you just wait for games. Sony's next year looks okay. It's not terrible. There's got Stellar Blade and Rise of the Ronin and Final Fantasy, all these like kind of third-party deals. Though maybe some of those are kind of their exclusives, but that's not bad. And then they have their own like multiplayer game stuff coming. Maybe that'll be good. We'll see. But as far as like their company, they're kind of going in a different direction right now. So we'll see what happens with that.
Absolutely.
I mean, hey, it could be very good, right? We don't know who comes in. And they may turn it all around, and next year is their turn to start bringing the excitement. This year has been abysmal for them, right? On this side, we've gotten games. Yes, there's been like the Redfall disaster, but outside of that, you started with Hi-Fi Rush. You had a nice little showcase where Hi-Fi Rush was showed off as a shadow drop, right? That was a pretty good little mini showcase, and then you get like Hi-Fi, and then you get yes, Redfall, but you get a proper E3 level showcase, which was great. And then, you get Starfield, which, yes, some middling reviews, but overall, it's still being played and it's done pretty well, right? So
absolutely,
it's still there, right? Numbers are better than most PlayStation games. Let's just put it that way. So it's doing its thing. You got Forza Motorsport. And now you get, possibly bad rated, but, Modern Warfare 3, which will likely sell anyways. It doesn't matter. But
you know what's crazy? It got a 4 from IGN, got some poor reviews. Look, I'm not here to cap for the $1 trillion company. I'm 27 hours in. I'm absolutely loving it. I already rolled credits. I'm playing through on a harder difficulty. I'm trying to find all the weapons on each level to try and get the 90-point achievement. I'm doing I'm mopping up achievements right now. It's all I want to play. I'm really enjoying it, but it's going to be funny that the 4-rated game is going to be the #1 selling game in 2024.
It may be. I mean, I assume it will be. Right, but like this year has been insane with the number of games. I mean, like I think Baldur's Gates eclipsed 20 million. Just to consider that it didn't sell on console; it sold that on PC.
PC, yeah,
that's just insane. Right, this is an insane year, right? We're at 20-ish million for Tears of the Kingdom,
RoboCop,
right? Like this is I don't know how many Hogwarts was like the top selling game, right? I mean, I don't even know how much that sold, right? So like this is an insane year. Hopefully it does sell that well. We'll see what happens, right? But on the other side, it's been one game, Spider-Man, right? They did have Final Fantasy 16, but they started with Forspoken, bad. They had their showcase, which even the PlayStation fans found to be lackluster, and then they had a State of Play, which also was lackluster. And then they finally have some good news with with Spider-Man, which is it's good. Yep, there are bugs.
It's a phenomenal game. Spider-Man's amazing. Oh, no pun
Yep.
intended. I'm quite enjoying it. Yeah.
But you know, it's at least is some good news. And in between, their entire leadership team is kind of in disarray, right? So, you know, that enthusiasm gap will become an interesting thing as it keeps going. The other side, there's Nintendo, which is also just putting out banger after banger. Mario Wonder is apparently really, really good. Tears of the Kingdom, one of the highest rated games of the year. And there's a new console potentially coming next year for them, right?
March
so
is the rumor, yeah.
And you know, so they've got some good stuff, and as usual, they always seem to have 5 or 6 big releases every year, silently just eating up the market, right? So if you got Xbox on one side taking a lot of market, you know, mind share, forget about market, just mind share, and you got Nintendo coming up with, hey, here's a new console that'll play everything, and we've got our major games, right? And they're starting to come in that, you know, 1440 4K level. Well, it's going to be an interesting year for PlayStation if they don't start coming up with an enthusiasm shift. As far as the Xbox leadership, look, I think like Sarah Bond is kind of a, like you were saying, KSante, like she's a little bit of a foil to what Phil is. Phil is reserved and likes to be like the good person in the industry. Sarah is the like. So why haven't we bought Nintendo yet? So right, and that's cool. I like that, right? So I'm actually curious if like now that she has like she's kind of been the head of the platform for a bit, but they didn't like officially say it. Will she just decide to say, okay, if there's a PS5 Pro, I'm making an Xbox Pro? Right? Will she just go ahead and just do that?
Well,
Like,
people,
so,
you know what? That's part of her.
it's
her
a possibility
as well. Yeah, she's head
She
of
now
game
owns that, right?
devices as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, she owns
Yeah.
the platform, so she could just like, hey, we're gonna make a Pro, and right, and yes, she might have to get like Phil's approval, but she is
But
the head
you
of it.
see-
I'm
you
sure
see
she'll
her
just say, well,
geek-
this is what we're doing.
That's what I was talking about, Hergy, right? Under normal circumstances, Phil would be like, I need a 1X, there's a 1X. But in a world where there is a Phil and there is a Sarah, does a Phil say, nah, I don't think we should do that?
Yeah.
I think eventually, like, look, it depends on how commanding Phil is. If you're a good leader, you listen to your team and say,
Yes.
well,
Yeah.
make the case.
She
Tell
likes
me
to
how this
be
helps us.
on that stuff, you know.
Right?
She's not a culpa person.
Yeah, and like it's a good leadership test, right? Okay, you
Right.
want to do this. Fair enough. It's going to cost us this much. Tell me what the return is. Is it a good idea, right? And okay, fine. It'll be on you. Let's do it, right? Right. So, hey, we'll see if she does it or not, right? She is one of those people that probably would, right? So, but it depends. Like if she has something else in mind to spend the money on to get something else that's better, great. We'll see where they go, right? So she now heads up the platform. We'll see where the platform goes, what things they're going to add in, how they're going to get exciting. Look at the beginning of the gen, or even like going in from the last gen, the platform was what was driving all the excitement. Backwards compatibility, 60 FPS for 30 FPS, like all the frame boosts we're getting, right? Up-resing all your old games, right? And then like quick resume and automatic smart delivery, automatically upgrading your game, right? All these cool things they just kept giving to you, right? Just part of the platform, right? And it's kind of slowed down a bit, right? Maybe it's time to start revisiting how do we get new capabilities, right? Let's see what they do with that. Maybe they will start investing in new tech on the platform, or maybe they're at their wits' end as to what to do next. But we'll see, right? So. But yeah, I think it's kind of interesting to see what she will do. She generally tends to be a bit more, let's go, right? Gung ho. So we'll see if that makes something happen at the platform level. I'm not sure if she still retains the Game Pass stuff. I'm not sure if that's moved somewhere else or if it's still under her. I don't know where that ended up. Is that under Matt Booty now? Or I don't know where that whole thing is, because like partnerships is still under, but partnerships generally is hardware accessory partnerships. So I'm not sure that's really the Game Pass stuff, but so I'm not sure where that landed. But hopefully somebody's having fun with that, and we'll keep adding more content. Though it's gonna be harder to justify getting third-party AAAs. You can get the AA's in the indies when you have so many of your own. Like honestly, it's become very hard now to just keep up. Right? Forget buying games. Just if you have Game Pass, it's hard to keep up with the games that come on that. It's so many games. It's like Starfield is a couple of 100-hour game, right? I just finished Persona before it left. That's a 100+ hour game, right? They just keep dumping all this stuff. It's so hard to keep up.
It
like I
is.
don't. It's so.
By
like,
the way, has anybody in the on the panel or in the chat played Jursant?
I haven't
No,
even started it.
I haven't had a
my
chance to. I have had a
dude.
chance to.
I've finished it all in one go yesterday.
Oh my god, you're
Wow.
amazing, dude! I'm just about to hit chapter 3, folks. I'm telling you right now, don't sleep on that. It's going to
No.
be in the
Cocoon, I still have to play
conversation for
that.
indie game of the year.
Mhm.
Phenomenal.
I want to
And
play it.
there's so many of those, right?
Yes.
The indies have also been popping this year. There's
Yep.
been a lot of good ones. So it's all up in the air. Who knows? Like who's gonna win game of the year? I don't know, man. Like, but that is a whole like it is crazy how many games we on top of you got Tears of the Kingdom, Mario, you got Spider-Man on the other platforms, and then you have like the PC stuff like Baldur's Gate, but that's hopefully coming to Xbox sometime by the end of the year.
I think that the
but-
rumor is the first week of December, but
Yeah, wasn't it December 6th or something like that?
But they
Yeah,
I
but
thought
they,
it was-
they
yeah.
debunked that, but that maybe that
Oh,
was
they
just,
did
you know,
debunk that. Oh,
yeah,
Well, but
the
you know, you never
director
know.
of the game came out and said, "Hey, we are
well, it's news
they're,
to
they're,
me.
they're testing it."
Ah,
And
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
he did say it's news to me, but he goes, "We're working on it, and we want to release it by end of year. We just got to make sure that it runs right, and that's fine. That's fine."
Yeah. Am I freezing? I don't know why my video is showing.
Little
there we
bit,
go.
yeah.
now
yeah,
you're back.
freezing
We're
days
back. There
in
you
the-
go.
yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, so the leadership changes are going to be interesting to see. There'll be another one, and I don't know if we know what's happening here with Bobby Kotick obviously leaving at the end of the year. We're
Right.
going to have another shift there. You can see some of the stuff that's happening with Blizzard from BlizzCon, right? As far as
that was a great interview with
right, Ibarra is changing the
Mike
game
Ibarra.
there.
Yes.
Right, and he's making people are excited about what's happening with Blizzard, right? And Phil's like, hey, I'm gonna make them back to what they used to be, right? Bring them back to their glory, right?
Right.
That's fantastic news. That's what you want to hear, right? So I don't know what happens to Activision. Are they locked into having to make Call of Duty every year? I hope that's not the case. So if they don't have to do that, hopefully they can slow down those studios from making Call of Duty and go do some other cool stuff, right? And let's make some other kinds of games, right? And we'll see where that goes, right? If Modern Warfare 3 is the kind of game they're going to release, they're better off not releasing it and then putting out something that'll be an 8 or 9, right? But we'll see. I think you liked it, Boom, but the majority of the things I hear about it is it's going to be in that 50-60 range. It's going to be pretty bad. So
Look,
but it is what it is.
Listen, everyone enjoys what they want. I mean, listen,
Yep.
I put 80 hours into Redfall, folks. Am I a heel for doing that? No, I really enjoyed the
Hey,
game.
if you liked it, that's
So-
awesome, right?
I don't move with the crowd. Boom does
Yeah.
his own thing. He always has and always will. So if you hate this game, I hear you. I'm just about to. I think I just crossed this 26 or 27 hour mark, and I'm probably going to put another 20 hours into it because I want to run through it on the hardest difficulty, which is freaking hard, by the way. And I want to try and find every weapon on the boards that have them because there's unlockables for multiplayer that I'm never going to use, but I want the achievos. So there you go. There's that. Wandering Dutch, first of all, welcome back, sir. Love the new setup. It looks so good. You put it out on the socials, looks phenomenal. We haven't had a chance to talk. There's been a lot of things happening, but more specifically, the celebration, the excitement that Sarah Bond is now the president of Xbox Game Studios. Fantastic hire. Well deserved. She's incredibly, engaging when she's interviewed. A perfect example is the interview that she just did. She's as kind as you could possibly be. I would imagine I haven't had a chance to meet her in real life like I did for Phil. Hopefully, I can change that one day. But I would imagine what you see is what you get. Let's talk about it, man. What are your thoughts on her promotion?
Yeah, it's obviously it's great, but like many, I think it's expected. We kind of expected Sarah to be promoted soon, and personally, I think at some point she's going to be the one that's being geared up to take over from Phil.
Indeed.
That's the way it's coming across. It's always the front-facing one as well. We've seen how Phil is both, and they're both very. It's easy to see why they're taking a shine to Sarah. She's very much akin to the same kind of person that Phil Spencer is. Very forward-facing, very community-focused. very much gamers. Like Sarah Bond is constantly talking and playing video games with her family and putting little things on Twitter all the time and finishing games and so on and so forth. It's exactly the same as Phil Spencer. They don't just essentially talk about video games like a lot of executives do. They're all very much gamers themselves at heart. And to be executives that are in the position that they are at the top of the tree when it comes to making decisions, being able to know what the games are that they're playing, how these games work, what works best, what they like, what they don't like, and really kind of know where the focus should be, listen to the community feedback, and then put that into action. It's great to see Sarah being kind of lined up for that. And to be fair, I think she's great and well positioned to do that. She's got a good. I don't even know how you say this now. My mind's not really working great. She's got a good kind of stage presence as well. She's great, kind of in front of camera. But a lot of people say that doesn't really matter, but it does when you're talking about
100%.
What is essentially a sales pitch. Every time you step on camera, it's selling yourself, the brand, Xbox, everything that you're trying to push forward. You have to be able to put that forward with a degree of certainty and a degree of believability. That's what personally I think has been lacking from Sony this generation was Jim Ryan being in charge. It completely lacked believability as to what he actually felt about the brand. He didn't look like he cared about anything, and that is really what shines. Like why Jim Ryan, I think partly why Jim Ryan is gone is because there is no direction to that company. There isn't like whether or not it doesn't look like they care when they get up on stage and introduce a new game. It doesn't look like they care about the game that they're showing off. It's just like, here's the new Spider-Man. Great. Like, do you look excited? Do you look enthused? Because it doesn't look like you look excited about this. And this is the complete opposite side effect when the likes of Sarah or Phil are on stage and they're talking about these things. They look enthusiastic about the games. They look excited to talk about the games. And they look like they actually play the games themselves. And they do. We've seen this. And that's the kind of people you want in charge of a forward-facing, front-facing company. And again, as much as people like to say, okay, there might be, it's a corporation, it's a conglomerate, etc. Yes, it is. But the only way for that company to be successful is to talk to the consumers and be on a consumer level. If you're not down on the consumer level and you're not trying to sell to that consumer and get onto their wavelength, it's not going to work. And that's why we've seen kind of the issues, I think, with PlayStation this year, and why we've seen the rise of these big guys at Xbox and why they're going up so quick. So it's great to see Sarah in that position. I personally think that Sarah is going to be in Phil's position at some point. But as we know, Phil seems really excited to have Acme Blaze on board now, and he's mentioned himself in his last interview that he wants to kind of see how this can blossom and where it goes. So I think it's going to be a little while until we see Phil leave the reins at the top of the tree. But I think at that point, as long as Sarah's got it in her, because we've seen how much it's done to Phil in these 10, 15 years in charge of Xbox already. So as long as Sarah's got it in her, the energy-wise, then I'm sure she'll take over when Phil eventually hangs up the reins.
Yeah, I would imagine she's much younger than Phil. So she's look, she has made her presence felt in Xbox. Remember, she's only been in the company, and I say only, not to be to downplay it. You got to remember, Phil's been there since an intern. That dude's got 30 plus years there. Sarah comes in from AT&T, where she spent 2.5 years, and she made some big changes there. And she brought all of that know-how to Xbox, and she has been really just laying it down. She has been on top of everything. Like I said, if you wanted to know whether or not there's some people I saw on social media that we're not going to name because we don't do that here, that just disappointed me as human beings when she was promoted. I don't know if she's qualified. Just look at her schooling. And again, I say this with complete passion. look at how she conducted herself under oath. I don't know about. I've been under oath many times for many court cases, so it's like second nature to me. She seemed to like it was nothing. That's how you that was the if that wasn't the crossing of the T or the dotting I for you, then I don't know what to tell you. But I'm happy she's in the position. I think she is being set up to ultimately take over for Phil. I hate some of the talk that we've seen. She was a hire. That's disgusting. She was hired because she was qualified. She was promoted because she has the brains and the know-how, and we're going to leave it at that. Very happy for her. Very happy for Xbox as a platform. The future is incredibly bright, and they're making some big power moves. Like they just made another one today. We'll talk about that tomorrow on Xvlog Live at noon. Real quick before we move on to the second topic of the show, folks, I do want to say two things. One, welcome. We have over almost 700 people here. A lot of new names, I would imagine, that are fans of Dirt Griggity, which I'm happy that you guys and gals came over to check it out. I will say that Double Barrel Gaming is 323 subscribers away from 14K. If you are new and you're finding the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing, just like you did yesterday for my man Ham Solo, who hit 1K live on the air. I couldn't be more proud. That dude is one of the hardest working guys in the business, and he was able to finally hit the 1K mark. He is partnered officially, and I couldn't be more happy for him. And of course, let me read the last couple of super chats that have popped in here. RC Polygons drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, with MS now owning ABK, I would love to see a collaboration with Warner Brothers to bring Johnny Cage into Call of Duty, as Mortal Kombat 1 is hot with their memes. I mean, why not? I mean, they have all kinds of personalities. You can buy Ash from The Evil Dead, which I say this. Why did I do it? I bought it because I'm an Ash fan. Jesus Christmas. I don't even play online, but I had to get it because it's Ash Williams. I mean, come on. Polga Bravo drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, hey, Hargeet, I got the Switch with the new Mario, and I've already 100%ed the game. I'm now on to Zelda, which is now a 10 out of 10, and we have Black Lavender in the house.
Y'all stop it.
I don't know what that means. I'm just reading.
Don't worry, that's
chat.
one of the nicknames my
okay.
Like the homies call me in the chat. Don't worry about it, bro.
Okay, all right. So there you go. It's not insulting because I was like, Jesus Christ, don't be an insult, please.
Cool.
Bay Area drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, shout out to the panel. Good to see Boom having Dirt on the panel. Yes, it's absolutely great to have him here. Hey, us bots got beat down last gen, but hey, this gen is different, and we are here to TTS indeed. Highlander 001, who's been a channel member, ladies and gentlemen, for 17 months, brother. That is very kind of you. He says, I like to remind Sony players that PlayStation, the PATs were one of the top football teams. They win 6 championships from 2001 to 2018, and now look at them.
Like you talking about New England Patriots. That's
the Pats. Yeah, the Patriots. Yeah, I mean, they every team falters. Just it's they don't have Tom Brady, Gronk, and the crew that they had over there was just crazy. I mean,
in other words, in other words, what the super chat is saying, what do you call them? Sean Layton and all those other guys you had on there. We're crazy, like you're saying now. Yeah. What a team.
Yeah, oh, wow. And listen, I loathe the Patriots because I'm a Steelers fan, and you have beaten me in the championship game more times than I like to admit. So there's that.
I lived in New England for many years, Boom. I'm sorry. We can't, I'm sorry, man.
It's fine. Listen, you win some, you lose some. The Patriots won a lot, and good on them for that.
they did.
Brady's retired, so don't worry about it.
Yeah,
exactly. There you go.
He can't hurt me anymore. I love it. I love it. Look, one of the things that came across everyone's desk, if you're in the business like we are, was Grand Theft Auto. Rockstar put out a couple of tweets. So I kind of want to just read them verbatim. This is the press release, folks. We have confirmation from Rockstar, not an insider, not the Game Awards, not somebody that may know somebody that knows somebody. Rockstar Games came out. It was story broke late last night on Bloomberg, who broke the story that there would be a Grand Theft Auto 6 gameplay trailer dropping in December. Well, that leaked, and here we are today. We have a thread from Rockstar Games, and this is what they had to say, folks. Next month marks the 25th anniversary of Rockstar Games. Thanks to the incredible support of our players worldwide, we have had the opportunity to create games we are truly passionate about. Without you, none of this would be possible, and we are so grateful to all of you for sharing this journey with us. In 1998, Rockstar Games was founded on the idea that video games could come to be an essential to culture as any other form of entertainment, and we hope that we have created games you love in our efforts to be part of that evolution. Finally, we are very excited to let you know that in early December, we will release the first trailer for the next Grand Theft Auto. We look forward to many, many more years of sharing these experiences with you all. Thank you, Sam Hauser, who is the head of Rockstar Games. Now, that is pretty big. So what I want to do, though, to kind of point this conversation is I want to bring a community member into the conversation that I find to be endearing. He is slanderous. He has exploded on the scene. I talk with him all the time. I'm talking about the Black Viking. Dude is just a powerhouse on social media. Yeah. So reading his tweet sparked my interest in having this conversation with not only the 700 people that are here, but everybody on this panel. So again, I may not be able to be the sharpest tool in the shed when it comes to, like, let's say, building a PC, but I understand business. I understand the numbers. I love numbers, folks. And he put this tweet out that had me immediately perplexed. And he says this, folks: if Xbox somehow got the Grand Theft Auto 6 marketing rights, it might be the biggest power move in all of gaming. Now, I want to further this, Dirt, because we were talking in the green room, and I told you, like I'll tell everyone right now, I'm a go for the juggler kind of a guy. I'm not going to hit you in your knee so you can limp around and potentially come back and hurt me. No, I'm just going to end it. So I'm going to go for the juggler so you just don't move no more. And I don't got to worry about you. And right now, Microsoft is in a position to put boot to ass or boot to neck, whatever you want to use as your term. And again, I don't have a degree in business. I don't have the limitless checkbook, but I can tell you that let me paint this picture for the community. Just imagine for a second that your 2024 for Xbox looks like Avowed, Hellblade, Towerborn, and now we're starting to think Clockwork Revolution, right? Because they just was added to the Steam wish list. Right? That to me is the right? So let's just say, for shits and giggles, those 4 games plus the new Black Ops, which is going to apparently be in Afghanistan, right? Though, could you think about this for a second? That is what we were used to from Sony. And I say go back 2018, 2019, 2020. They had those 3 power years of blockbuster first-party games. highly rated, highly regarded, always in the Game of the Year conversation. That Sony does not exist anymore. That Sony is limping. They're a wounded animal. Microsoft, just picture this, folks. And I know people from Microsoft listen to this, so bring this back to Papa Phil, because I don't know if it could be done. I don't know how much money it would cost to get marketing rights, but just imagine, Dirt, next year, this is their first party lineup, and on the box and on your marketing, you could say that we have Call of Duty coming into Xbox Game Pass, and we have marketing rights for Grand Theft Auto 6, two of the most iconic IPs in the history of gaming, under the banner of Xbox. You know what that says? That says that people are going to look at Sony with a crooked eye. Nintendo's going to do their own thing. They're going to have a new console, a new Mario, probably a new Zelda. They're going to be all right. But we're talking about Sony. Sony is going to become Mr. Irrelevant if they can get this done. Let's talk about it.
Boom. Let me tell you something. GTA 6 is huge. I just mentioned this on Addict Show right before I came here. GTA 6, just this announcement that they're going to have a trailer in December. I follow a lot of sports people, you know, NBA people, NFL people. They were talking about GTA 6. They were talking about GTA 6. And if you remember earlier this year, PlayStation marketed Hogwarts Legacy, and they marketed it perfectly. There were people that didn't know the game existed on Xbox. And if you remember in February of 2023, PlayStation broke a record with sales because people were buying that game because they thought it was only on PlayStation due to the marketing. So third-party marketing does matter. And when you're talking about one of the biggest, if not the biggest, multi-platform game that everybody is waiting for, I'm about to say Call of Duty 6. GTA 6. Yes, Xbox needs to market this game. Like you said, Boom, if they have a nice little bundle next holiday season, it will move units, because even though there's like 50 million PS5s out there, maybe 20 million, 22, 23 million Xbox Series, there's still a lot of people that haven't made that next generation jump yet. There's some people that's waiting for GTA 6 because that's how huge the game is. And if you can like show these guys, because some people like they act like Xbox doesn't exist. I see a lot of different TikTok videos, and I look in the comment section, and people say, "Oh, who still plays the Xbox?" I see stuff like that. So people, because casuals, they're not brand loyal like us, right? They just kind of go where their friends go. GTA 6 is that type of game. If you see a GTA 6 bundle, that's a game changer. If it's an Xbox Series S GTA 6 bundle, it's going to move units. Even though I know Xbox is more than just console at this point, still the mind share that PlayStation has, not saying that it would, like, they would take over like PlayStation's mind share, but it will make people not forget about Xbox, to say, you know what, damn, I'm gonna get GTA 6 for Xbox. So marketing, this game needs to be marketed by Xbox. Boom. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, it's circumstances, right? They're like, you know, some people would suggest, well, they just spent $70 billion. But you know what makes me really like wonder if this is a possibility? Because the head, the guy that makes all the final calls, Satya Nadella, what did he say in his interview after ABK? We're doubling down on gaming.
Exactly.
Now, you know, we've talked about this for quite some time. PlayStation, meaning the company, Jim Ryan and company, the gaming media, the gaming community, you folks poked and prodded and pointed and laughed, and now you have woken the behemoth. And the behemoth just closed a $70 billion deal. They are the owners of Call of Duty. They own the IP. You know what's crazy, Dirt? We learned yesterday that for Call of Duty Warzone on mobile, which doesn't release until spring of 24, has 51 million pre-registered
It's up to 51
players.
now, Boom.
It's up
Last time
past
I looked,
50.
it was 45 last time. It's
Yeah,
up to
I think
51 now.
I think it right now. Again, I could be wrong. I read this.
goodness.
I read it from two places. I didn't really, it wasn't like IGN reporting. Well, the IGN is garbage.
Right.
It wouldn't be like VGC reporting. The last time I saw actual physical numbers was 45 plus.
That's crazy.
Someone had reported it was over 50. But you know what? Let's just keep. You know what? For shits and giggles, let's bring it down to 45 because those are I can't say for sure. So we'll go with what I saw on VGC, and that's 45.
That's crazy.
45 million pre-registered users for a game that doesn't release until spring of 24.
Damn.
They're gonna have enough money. They're gonna be printing money when you consider what they. So to spend the kind of millions, and again, folks, I don't know this. Marketing rights for GTA is probably a $500 million investment.
I would say at least 500 million. Probably.
Yeah, and I'm probably lowballing. I'm not, like I said, I don't have a degree in money market, so what do I know anyway? I'm just not a podcaster. But if I had to take a stab at it, a wild stab in the dark, I'd say at least minimum 500 million. But you know what you get with that 500 million? You get to put that game alongside your next Call of Duty on the box that you're going to sell next year, and you are good. Folks, you people clowned me. People clowned me. Said that when November 10th, 2023. That is the doomsday clock for Sony in first place. You give it 12 months, the market is going to change. You want to advance the line as King David, who, by the way, launched his own channel this week and got to 1K in 2 days because it's King David. That's not a surprise. Yeah, Xbox front line. I'll drop it in there. Go support our good brother, King David. That dude is who we thought he was, as Coach Green said for the Vikings. Go support him, but if you want to advance the line, if you want to put boot to ass or boot to neck, whichever one you want, I like boot to ass because it kind of sends you in the direction flying. I like that boot to ass stuff. You want to do that? You go grab these marketing rights, no matter what they charge you. And you again, this is we're talking one marketing deal. Sony's had a dozen of them, maybe even double that. It's the one marketing deal that you need to get, because if you can put both of these pictures on your advertising, because you own Call of Duty, you don't gotta pay nobody for that no more. You have Grand Theft Auto. You are talking world domination when it comes to gaming.
Hey, Boom. Like I say something right quick.
Please.
Do you remember during the Xbox 360 generation that some of their E3s, because I always go back and watch some of those E3s.
They're phenomenal, dude. They're just so good.
Until about 2010 when they got really bad with the Kinect stuff. But do you remember how they used to have, like, they would show Madden, they would show Call of Duty, they would show, I don't know, something else, then they'll have Halo. Oh, like GTA 7, I'm sorry, like GTA 4 came out in 2006 or 7, whatever year it was. But they said, yo, all of these games, and they'll show Halo. All of these games are only on Xbox 360. Yeah. So, like you said, just imagine next year if they say Call of Duty, GTA, but we also have Hellblade, we have Avowed, we have 2K Madden. All of these games are only playable on the Xbox, because like the other platform might have, Madden or GTA, but we also have Hellblade. We have this, so that will be a huge thing. So this is the most important marketing deal that they can make. The number one biggest marketing deal that they can make for obvious reasons.
I listen. It's I because I'm all about numbers, Casante. You and I, we talk every day. I'm an evidence-based kind of a dude, right? I'm gonna tell you why. If I'm Phil Spencer, or like I like to call him Phil Spender. What I like to do is present some evidence. Now, I don't need to show it on the screen because I'm going to read it verbatim because I pulled this before the show went live. Because like I said, I like the numbers to back up my theories. If I'm Phil Spencer, this is why you go get marketing rights for GTA 6. But forget the fact that it is one of the most anticipated GTAs probably ever, right? It's going to have a female protagonist as the lead, which I think is brilliant. I think it's the first time you're going to be able to travel to different countries. That is the rumor. You are going to be involved in the drug cartel. I mean, I'm ex-popo, but I could play a drug dealer on TV. It's fine. It's fine. It won't mess with my moral code because I'm not really doing anything bad. But folks, all jokes aside, check these numbers out. Okay. GTA 5 was released in 2015. It is now 2023. So if you were wondering, just for shits and giggles, how many units they have sold in that timeline, well, folks, they have officially sold as of this month, 2023, November 2023, 185 million units of Grand Theft Auto 5. Just a pinch under 200 million. It is one of the best-selling video games ever. Think about
it's
that.
What number 2, isn't it? It's like number 2.
It says here one of the best. I mean, is it number?
I think Tetris would be because
Tetris and
Minecraft is
Minecraft,
number 1.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
And then Tetris ends up
Minecraft's
being number
like
2.
200, 300 million.
Yeah. So
300.
It says,
Minecraft is number 1 at 300. Yeah.
First, it says
Xbox
here.
on IP.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto is one of the best selling. So it's not the best selling. It is one of the best selling. So thank you for the correction. I definitely appreciate that. 185 million units. I'm just saying that this game has been sold to us so many times. I think everybody in the chat has 3 copies. You just don't realize you have 3 copies.
I do.
I actually do.
We all do.
I
Of
actually
course.
have 3 copies.
Oh yeah. And if you're a PC gamer,
360 Series X.
yes, you played it on the last gen. You played on the gen after. If you're a PC player, they gave it to you free and one of the other launchers, so you have it there too. You have it on Steam. People have at least 5-6 different versions of this game. And tomorrow you'll find that on NPD or whatever other service that you look at, it's still in the top 10. So
it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
So with that said, right, it's one of the best-selling games of all time. We know that Grand Theft Auto Online it's just prints money, right?
Yeah.
We know that again, being safe, being unqualified to make the number. Dirt and I agree, 500 million minimum. I think that you spend that kind of money because what you're buying ultimately is the generation. That's just my hot take on it. Now, I don't know. So let's get your hot take on this, Ken.
So here's where I stitch together the 2 conversations we were having, right? Because I agree with you, but this will not be Phil Spencer's decision anymore.
It will not.
Because this has nothing to do with anything beyond. Yes, this is completely Sarah Bond. This is not Phil Spencer because Phil is beyond it. Phil is Activision doing something. He's overarching. But when we're talking about the Xbox platform, which, by the way, historically, whenever GTA releases, it releases on console for a time first. So this is solely a console play. This is not a console and PC play. This is not the Xbox platform. No, this is a marketing deal on Xbox console, like old school style, right? That's what this is. And in that world, this is where I go. I agree with you. It's aggressive. It would say, hey, not only are we here, not only do we put that big thing on the table, now we'll put other big things on the table. like this would be the power move of power moves. But the price they would pay for it would be the cost of an IP, like a new game, pretty much. And this would only be a play for console. So here's where I asked that question I asked before again. Does Phil go, yeah, we probably shouldn't do that? But Sarah goes, nah, man, this is my play. I'm doing it.
I look. it's
because
you're asking
Phil
really
wouldn't do it. I don't think.
I don't know. I don't know if Phil would do it. But see, this is again,
and Phil is beyond it, right? He's beyond the console. It's a platform now. He's beyond the console, right? So if you were going to do this, right, unless you do this when PC and console release at the same time, then you can say, oh, it's a play for Xbox, the platform, which it is, right? But when it comes out day and date, day one, it's not a platform play. It is a console play because that's the only place it'll release.
Yeah. But I still think they have to, man.
Oh, no. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. As a person who plays in the console space, I think that would be the most power move of power moves. That would tell everyone, hey, not only are we here, not only don't think that just because we bought Call of Duty that now we're going to rest on our laurels. No. We here to play still. And the money is still in the back. It would speak volumes. I get it. But I'm saying they are now not just looking at that console anymore. PC is a whole different beast.
True.
Cloud is a whole different beast. They are gearing up for mobile, right?
Yeah.
The money you would need for this play would be a big old bag. I'm talking 500. Yeah. Like it would be a big old bag.
But the console is still part of the ecosystem. It's still very important.
The question is, do they still spend $500 million in just the console space for only a console play?
To stop Sony from getting yes.
That's a thought. Or maybe they spend the console play money and then they say, oh, when it comes to PC, you also come to Game Pass, or we also continue that on the platform, which is Microsoft, right? My only thing is, and Hargeet, I see you smiling. I need you to talk to me here. What do you think? This would be big money moves, but in one side of the coin that they say now is just one side of the coin.
They got it.
Right?
But what
do you think?
I'm gonna frame it for Hargeet, and I want to answer your question both at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those situations when you look back at how Activision was presented to Microsoft, right? It happens it's the unicorn moment. It is the once in a lifetime moment. GTA 5 came out in 2015 and has been regurgitated a multitude of times over generation. In that time, it has sold 185 million copies. Right now, online, GTA Online is probably one of the most played games of the many of the games that people play, right? It basically prints money. Microsoft finds themselves, Hargeet, in a position where they just closed ABK. It is the biggest deal it's the biggest deal in tech history, in gaming history. We have confirmation from Satya Nadella that says we are doubling down on gaming, right? And Sony, again, this is why I'm saying it's all in line of what I'm trying to paint us a picture here. Sony is a wounded animal. They are the market leader, yes, but for how much longer? They have no games. Remember, Xbox didn't have a game that was the running tag. Xbox got no games. You know what? Sony finds themselves in that position because of leadership problems, which they took care of by getting rid of a lot of people. And I'm sorry to say, don't expect a quick turnaround. It's business. These plans that Jim had were in place for years. It takes a long time to go back to what you were doing. And on top of that, we know that their games cost $200 million per game for a single player game that even if it's 30 hours, does not have the microtransactions and the back end stuff to make you spend, right? Hargeet, this is one of those situations that if they had the opportunity to snatch up marketing rights and be able to say next holiday that they have a new Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto marketing, I think that it would really push the line forward on who is number one in the market. And I think that this is money well spent. And I say that considering how much money they are going to make just from mobile alone, they would be able to recoup that money without even thinking twice.
Yeah, so the reason I laugh is that the assumptions of the previous releases being console only Is that still relevant? So GTA 5 came out 2013. It was the end of the Xbox
that's
360.
my hedge. Exactly.
And
exactly. If it's day and date, that's different. That's a different conversation altogether. Yes.
The world we're in, you'd be foolish to not be on PC and also on mobile, right? Because that's just the way it is.
Case,
right?
If that's the case, 100%, I'm with y'all. Day and date, let it. If it's everywhere, if it's on the Xbox platform, as in everywhere. Oh, hell yeah. But if it's only on the console, that might be a tough sell. Just my question,
So there's an interesting thing here of like where so look, Phil and Strauss Zelnick, I think this is the guy, right, who runs it.
Yeah,
Strauss. I've been buddy for years now, right?
Oh, they golf buddies for a long time. Yes,
so
absolutely.
and let's not kid ourselves. I'm sure Jim Ryan was buddy with them as well. We just didn't hear about it because Jim Ryan doesn't I don't know, he's just not exciting. But it is what it is, right? So that is a potential. We can't just take it away. It is possibly there. With the potential, the money they make with the money they just inherited from ABK, they could spend that money easy. That's not a big deal. And of course, they have Microsoft's bank. They could always do it if they wanted to. GTA 4 was marketed by Xbox, so there's history. It could absolutely happen. The question is it worth it, right? Because you do like you're saying, you're showing they have Call of Duty. That is a big game. And that is, if you had to have an equivalent to GTA, it's probably Call of Duty, right? It's probably the closest thing you've got. Is it a good enough investment? So here's some scenarios. Say Sarah goes in and says, "I'm going to spend the money on creating, this marketing deal for GTA 6, or I'm going to make a PS5 Pro equivalent for the Xbox." Which one do you go with?
I hate to say this, man. I go with the marketing because it's going to bring in so many new gamers,
right?
man.
So it's an interesting choice, right? And now here's a headache for Take-Two. If they go, like you were saying, Asante, with console first, they can't show you the PC version. So they're going to want to show the best possible version. If a PS5 Pro is coming out next year, they're going to want to show the PS5 Pro version. So they'll want that marketing there, not here. So you got to take this shit into consideration, right? That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Right? So if it is simultaneous PC, problem solved. Microsoft can go in and say, "Hey, we love PC. Oh, wait, it's our OS. We absolutely have no problem putting things in PC. You want to show it on PC? No problem. We'll also show the Xbox version on a different freaking marketing thing, but we're happy to show the PC version because it's on our system anyway." So they're happy to do that, right? So they'd be happy to market it with PC. But if that doesn't happen, now you got to look at it from Take-Two's perspective and say, are we better off with the much more powerful PS5 Pro or the Series X? I don't know. I mean, usually when you want to show your game, and a game like this is going to be like one of those showpieces, right? It's going to be a graphical showpiece. They want to show it with the best possible fidelity, and that's going to probably be over there. I'm just saying. So they're probably better off over there. Now, from a money perspective, PlayStation no longer has to pay Activision for Call of Duty. That frees up some Boku bucks. That could go to this. Just saying. It's there, right? Could this be a boost to them? Sure. Just like we're thinking for Xbox. I'm just being pragmatic about it, right? So, because we feel emotional about this would be awesome if Xbox, but it's all a business. Ultimately, Strauss is going to look for his bottom line. Xbox is going to look at their bottom line. And PlayStation's going to look at their bottom line. And somebody's going to win out in the end. There could be a whole other scenario where they're like, we don't want to have it be on one platform. We want to show it on everything. That's another possibility. Because they really don't need anybody. It's GTA. It's going to sell regardless. They don't need anybody to market it. It's Grand Theft Auto. It's going to sell anyway. So they could just say, we'll market it. And we'll just let everybody showcase it on their thing. And we'll show it at the best possible fidelity on whatever system we choose, right? So there's all sorts of possibilities. Could this happen? Yes, it is very possible. It could happen. Is it a good investment? If it came down to buy Crystal Dynamics or get marketing rights for this, yikes. I almost choose buy Crystal Dynamics. because it's not going to
100%,
end.
yeah.
It's not going to end Xbox.
I'll
But
back with you
God
on
damn,
that.
you can't let them go twice.
No.
You
No.
gotta go pick them up, right? And right now, Embracer's hurting. If that opportunity is there and you fumble it again, like, come on, right?
Well, they could find themselves. They could. It's funny you say that. They could find themselves in a position where not only do they get Crystal D and Eidos Montreal, potentially 4A Games is another one that they own.
Yep.
That obviously
Embracer owns 4A. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
They do,
wow.
yeah.
Now on top of that, though, those are 3 powerhouse studios. You never know, they could acquire the Tomb Raider IP, which I've been saying forever they need to do. Getting Lara Croft as a first party IP character would be legendary.
Yeah. Well,
So if you're now we're delving into different waters here. Now
Right,
we're
and
trying
so
to say,
so you have to weigh all these things, right? If you're Microsoft, you have to say, okay, what is the return on value? You're right, it's GTA. If there is the ability to market with it, right, and you have a bundle deal of GTA with Xbox, cool, right? That is definitely big. Is it worth that much investment versus buying something, right? Because you could go out and buy another set of studios, Asobo, Certain Affinity. I mean, there's
the
so many.
ultimatum though. But
Right?
I mean,
So-
what's with the ultimatum though?
What do you mean?
Why they can't do all? I mean, they're Microsoft. I mean,
Because
why they can't?
ultimately they still need to return investment back, right? So
Okay.
yeah, and yes, there is the potential to say, hey, that's just an asset transfer, right? So Microsoft could buy them and put them under Xbox. Fair enough. That is a thing, right?
Okay.
But it is also something that Xbox has to look at it as a whole and say, if we're going to get all this, we're also managing all this. We have so much of a portfolio. Is that enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation is in desperate mode. They need something big, right? So this would be a big thing for them. They just lost COD as their marketing vehicle. This
Yeah,
is a
they did.
potential for them, right? So there's also, and I don't know if they'll do it, right? Nintendo's coming back. Will they then decide to actually do what they needed to? What they couldn't do before was compete with Sony money, right? Sony money went out and said, we're going to take all the content away from you, Nintendo. Even though you have a more powerful console, it doesn't matter because you won't get the games, so you won't be able to sustain yourself. Well, they've been banking money for a long time.
Yeah,
So-
Nintendo's war chest is ridiculous.
They have so
Yeah.
much money in the bank right now. They could actually go in and say, you know what? Maybe we should go get the GTA marketing
Nintendo?
rights, right? And bring it to like it doesn't matter. Everybody's going to get the game, right?
Mhm.
The question is, would they want to go do that, right? Because then they really boldly say, "Yo, we're back and we're
Yeah.
competing."
Yep.
Right? Boldly, like big time. This isn't like, oh, we just got like a small little, game out of, Square Enix or something. No. We're taking the biggest game and we're telling you we're here. Right? So that's another, it's up to them if they want to do it. Right? So that's another player that could do it. So there's just interesting dynamics. Like we're in a very interesting, coming year where Sony's in transition, Nintendo's trying to come back, and Xbox is going to try to take advantage of their position that they're in with all these studios and start showing you how they can keep putting out games, right? And we'll see where that goes. They're still not done buying. That's still another thing, right? So we don't know what they plan to do for I'm sure there's going to be no big announcements over the next couple of months. It's going to be, next year. Well, what they do next year, who knows, right? So and that could bring with it a whole bunch of other games that just start coming in. So, yes, it's a possibility, but I would just leave it open that there are so many different angles here, right? Would it be huge? Sure. Is it worth the investment? I don't know, right? It's a really big question mark as to whether you spend it there or spend it somewhere else. And with the fact that you have COD, that is a big deal right there. I don't know that you need to go too far. I know we all think we want to let's just pile on PlayStation and get rid of them. Well, that's not Phil's thing. And understand the more that happens, the harder it is for Xbox to go acquire another publisher or studio, right? So they don't really want to push that envelope. So it's actually better if Sony sustains itself and does, reasonably
no, we don't
well.
want Sony out of the market. I'm just saying that when you consider how
it's a wounded animal, as
long-
you're saying, right? And
yeah, I mean, they've been behind the 8 ball for this generation. They were behind the 8 ball in last generation. At some point, they want first place, and there's nothing wrong with wanting first place.
they're already trying to help them.
Yeah.
So look, I don't know how much how much Sarah will come in and say, hey, well, let's spend that kind of money to do that. She may, right? And again, I don't know if she actually owns that piece or not. I don't know if that's been moved to a different area, but whatever. So whoever it is, whether they would want to spend that kind of money, I don't know. But they have been buddy for a while. We have seen all that like back and forth with them. So it is possible that they're doing something like that. But again, we also don't know if Take-Two even wants it. Maybe they're like, we'll just market it ourselves.
Yeah, maybe they'll just do
which they can do that.
They don't care. Like, it's GTA. It's gonna sell. It doesn't matter, right? It's like you don't really need to market this. It will just sell. So I think by the time like the announcement of a release date comes out, it'll have already sold like 30 million copies. It's just that ridiculous, right? That's what GTA. So that I don't think they're worrying about the sales. So
no,
I don't know what ends up happening here. It is an interesting thought as to whether they should make that investment here or do other things, right? Like the Machine Games, doubling that studio, that's a cost. You can spend that money and say, hey, that's a better investment, right? They have to figure these things out. And yes, they have a reserve of cash. Yep, ABK brings in a lot of cash, right? So they have a reserve of cash. They could spend this money. It's not a big deal. They've done it before. In that mode, they were trying to actually grow from nothing. They're kind of somewhere, but it doesn't hurt, right? Their console sales are pretty bad. They're not their competitor is pretty much kicking butt, right?
Yep.
And with a new Switch 2, whatever the heck it is, Pro coming out next year, that's also going to sell a lot. And so you have to kind of come back with something. So it is a possibility that this would be a way to say, hey, you know what, this may spur some sales, and we might be able to get, if it is console only, right, to get in front of it and say, hey, this could bring us to a little bit closer to where PlayStation is, and maybe stay ahead of where the Switch 2 Pro, whatever it is, ends up being. Will it beat those? Probably not. But at least it'll do something, right? But the other part is they need content in Asia. That's going to be a big push, right? They need to go figure that out. That's going to be their next big thing. So we'll see what they do as far as investment and where they want to put it.
That's why they got mobile.
Right? And well, Kane gave them a huge chunk there.
Yeah,
mobile is so huge right there.
Absolutely.
Will they do more? I'm sure, right? They're gonna try to find more mobile applications, whatever they can do as far as the gaming world. They will do what they can in the mobile space, but it's going to be about PC. It's going to be about mobile, but it's also going to be about getting that Asian contingent. They need more content over there so that they can attract those customers. He was out there, Phil, right, talking about how PC is growing over there, and that Game Pass PC grew quite a bit, right? So that's great news.
Yeah,
That's awesome for Xbox, right? So they're going to keep looking for that kind of thing, right? GTA, if it only does console, doesn't necessarily help them there. It helps them here. But here they're not doing that terribly. It's out there in Asia and Africa and Europe where they just aren't doing well. It's just
they're not doing well. Yeah, they need something to push them over the edge, and I think GTA marketing.
That's the game.
I mean, that's the one that does it, man. I mean, again, it's a lot of money.
Would it? And it's a big question. Is GTA very large in Asia? I don't know. I haven't even looked.
It gotta be large everywhere. 190 million.
I know, but you'd be surprised how much of that ends up being here, right? So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, equivalently, there are games over there that don't do anything over here, right? So Crossfire, for instance, massive over there, not so much over here.
Nothing
right?
here, nothing at all.
But it is what it is, right? And so they have to kind of they tried to with Crossfire to say, hey, let's bring that to console on Xbox exclusively. That didn't work out very well. But anyway, but that's the way it is, right? They're gonna have to try to figure out something over there. But we'll see. I don't know if this is a great move. It is a move that will do something. It'll definitely move the market, right? That is a thing. But is it enough? Is it worth it? they'll have to play that out. If it is really $500 million, God, that's a lot of money for.
It is a lot of money.
Marketing.
It is, but
So,
the
is
cost
it worth
of
it?
what it will do will ultimately is push the line in Xbox's favor. Because look, I Dirt brought it up. People thought Hogwarts was exclusive.
Yep.
The way that Sony marketed that game, and they
I know.
sold consoles in a way that they've never done. This is their
Because of
fifth
Hogwarts.
entry. Yeah, because of Hogwarts, they moved consoles like it
Yep.
was going out of style. Folks.
Yep. And I mean, like, it's GTA, so they'll know that it's going to be on PlayStation. But you're right; there will be enough people like, "Oh, this is on Xbox. I got to get an Xbox." Fine, right? That will definitely happen. Again, it'll do something. I don't know if it's going to be the biggest thing, but it'll do something. Even Call of Duty is multi-plat, right? It's going to still be coming on everything, but the marketing will be all Xbox. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, I mean, it's a possibility, but I would I would keep it like open that it is possible that totally different things happen, right?
Yeah,
The market is
100%.
evolving a lot right now. We don't know if there's somebody else who comes in and says, "Hey, we want to, come in and create our own thing, and we're taking the marketing for this." Who knows what happens, right? Like now that Microsoft finally finished the ABK deal, all these other big companies have been waiting, to do their thing. We have no idea what's coming, right? So this could be a whole interesting thing that happens next year. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's fun time for gaming. Hey, Wandering Dutch, let's get your hot take on this. Does Microsoft, after spending $70 billion to close ABK, go for the juggler? I mean, like I said, if you're gonna have marketed IP, there's no bigger than Call of Duty, which they don't have to spend on because, well, they own it. But if you can add GTA to that splash page that's going to be on buses and trains and basketball games, and I didn't mean it to rhyme, so there you go. But what are your thoughts, Dutch?
Yeah, it's a tough one, to be honest, because again, it would cost a significant amount of money, and then it's whether or not you would realistically recoup that amount of money on Xbox, specifically on Xbox. For those worrying about whether or not one console has more units than another console, Take-Two don't care if they're getting a big, huge lump sum up front, because at the end of the day, people are still going to buy that game on every platform until the end of time. So it makes no difference to Take-Two who gives them the cash, as long as they get the cash. So it's really just who offers more. And I don't think, and it sounds strange to say this right now, but as much as PlayStation are on the back foot at this moment in time, i.e. they've got a really, really empty palette of games. In fact, they have none, as we know, that are ready to come out next year. They potentially have none until 2025, if not maybe a little bit later, depending on how far away Wolverine is. The only game that is on PlayStation next year is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That is the big games. You've got a lot of other smaller ones like Stellar Blade and things like that are kind of floating around that still nobody really knows when.
And Rise of the Ronin, which looks pretty good, right?
Rise of the Ronin looks fantastic. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's really good.
But these are things that still don't have official windows, really. Like Final Fantasy is the only cemented one that we know of. And then outside of that, do PlayStation realistically have $500 million they're willing to spend on marketing for GTA in order to just do that, when at the moment they're looking at restructuring, they're restructuring hierarchy, they're restructuring teams and developers. They're potentially reshaping what direction they're going in. They're attempting to really kind of invest in their own IP and their own live service games, or potentially not, and reverse that trend. They're really trying to find their feet again, and I don't think the studios are in a great position either. I think Sony, first of all, Sony need to stop worrying about what third parties doing and try to sort out what's going on with the first party offerings right now. That's their main focus. Microsoft, on the other hand, now have a pipeline of first party. They've just now bought for 70 billion another bunch of first party studios that'll be recouping on multiple platforms, i.e., Call of Duty and World of Warcraft and and Candy Crush and all that stuff. So you've got a multitude of areas where you're going to be getting money back anyway, in the billions every quarter. So they're not really bothered about the multi-platform stuff. They've already got first party on lock now with what is now 40 plus studios. So they can pivot and say, okay, first party's good. We've got this pipeline going on here. Let's think about what third party offerings we're going to get here. However, you were speaking on Phil Spencer before, and this is another thing. Although he isn't in charge now of specifically Xbox, he's still in charge of Microsoft gaming as a whole, which means he still really has the be all end all sign off at the end of this process. And he's mentioned specifically that he isn't a big fan of having these timed exclusivities, these giant marketing deals that would pretend a game is on one platform and not on another platform. He's not the biggest fan of all these things. So it would be whether or not Sarah would be able to do what Phil Spencer did in previous generations and convince Hierarchy, listen, we need to spend $500 million on marketing for one game. Like, do you want to spend? Or it could even be more. Let's face it, it could be more.
It very well could be more.
It could be $1 billion. It could be double that. Do we spend that much on marketing for a game that realistically may not recoup that on just that platform? Because you have to think about that. Does this recoup on just that platform? Will this sell enough units of this to justify spending $1 billion? That's ultimately the reason you do these things. It's like, right, okay, if we spend this money, what's the realistic possibility that we're going to get enough people over here and enough money out of this on the return end to justify spending it in the first place?
Yeah, I wouldn't think this would have to be a marketing, right, Dutch? It would have to be they would just say we're taking the loss. There's no way you're going to make $1 billion back.
Yeah,
that's just an insane amount.
Yeah, it's big, and you know, with the likes of Take-Two, we know with Call of Duty, because obviously it came out in all of the the press things and the court documents. Call of Duty was doing like 80-20 and 70-30 splits on all of the microtransactions, etc. You would imagine Take-Two have got similar, if not higher, microtransaction percentages. They probably have an 80-20 split, or maybe even a 90-10 split in terms of what they get. You've seen how fast they pump out shark cards on GTA Online. So
yeah,
in terms of what you would recoup on the amount of things on that platform, again, it's just Take-Two. To me, it's just a Take-Two thing. They could just turn around to Microsoft and say, nah, we don't need it. Like, we could make this money in a week. Like, that's nothing to us. Like, what's that going to do? The marketing? No, we can market ourselves. We put a tweet out and it did 34 million in 2 hours. Like, what? 34 million impressions in 2 hours on a tweet. It wasn't even a normal tweet. It was like third down the line of the tweets. It was in like a chain of tweets. Did 34 million hits.
I think they did like a total of 4. Dan Houser did like 4 tweets, but they were very minimal.
Yeah. And the third one happened to be the one that said, "We're showing off the trailer." Boom, 40 million impressions in 2 hours. Like, insane. So it's one of those things. It's more, I think personally, it's more along the lines of, how can you convince Take-Two, and who else is going to put that forward to kind of take the marketing off them? Because it depends on the position that they're going for. It depends on the strategy they're going for. Do Microsoft want to go down that strategy of getting it? And can Sony really afford to right now push out that strategy? Sony need it more, personally. Sony need that more than Xbox. In terms of what, if for instance, GTA6 comes out next year, Sony absolutely need that more, which means they could be more, should we say, more desperate.
Right? Yeah, I was going to say the word desperate. No disrespect, but yeah.
Yeah. They could be desperate enough to chuck out whatever it costs in order to beat out the competition. If
Mm.
it's anything like any other kind of sales environment, it's just a tendering process. You say, okay, this is what we're offering. This is how much we're going to give you for it. And they'll go, okay, well, this is what we've had from such and such, and this is what they're offering. Right, okay. And it's going to be this weird bidding war between each other. And whether or not...
Oh my goodness. Imagine if there is a bidding war.
And it's GTA 6. It's GTA 6. It probably will be. And if if Microsoft are keen enough to do it, because essentially that's what it is. Satya, at the end of the day, he said he's all in gaming, so it would be him and Phil that make those decisions, especially for $500 million. That's not pocket change. That's not,
only $500
even
million.
Microsoft, $500 million is not pocket change. You know what I mean?
It's funny, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Dutch, what do you think about the potential for a content deal beyond just GTA, right? So part of it could be bringing the other GTAs into...
I think content deal is even less likely. He hates timed content.
Not timed content. I mean, like bringing older games into Game Pass or PS Plus. You wonder if that could be a part of the deal, right?
Yeah, I mean, the problem with Rockstar, right, is the fact that this GTA is still in the top 10 sold
Still,
games
and the game is how old? There you go.
It's been in and out of Game Pass, hasn't it? I think GTA
times.
It has, right?
But it's still selling like crazy.
Yeah. So it's like they'll be like, oh, do you want to go into Game Pass? Like, I don't care. What does it matter? Like, it still sells anyway. So they could, but I don't think it really matters. I don't think it matters. Sony, on the other hand, when it comes to content, I could very well believe they say, okay, we'll do some timed exclusive stuff. We'll do this. We'll do that. And again, it depends. It's going to be such a fascinating thing to see how this all plays out with the marketing, because it's going to be who offers what and whether or not Microsoft are really thinking about going down the route of, after in court, they've like, no, we want everybody to play the game. We don't want to do this and we don't want to do that. We don't want to make people believe that this game is on this platform and not on the other platform, and so on and so forth, and complete parity. Like, after all that waffle in court, then to go, well, now we've got marketing and now we make everybody else believe that this, it's as much as it would make sense for Microsoft to do it in one aspect, it would completely go against what they've been saying for the last 2 years in court. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting, to say the least, what's going to happen over the next few months.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think that there are relevant cases for both sides of the coin, right? There are, wow. Do you like, Dirt brought up a great point. Do you spend that kind of money, or do you buy someone else, right? Because I agree with Hargeet that, you can't miss out on Crystal D again, right? Like, they are the Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal. Why I think that they are pointed for Microsoft Game or Xbox Game Studios is, let's just, for shits and giggles, forget the fact that they are currently working on 2 rebooted IPs in Fable and Perfect Dark, right? So those studios are going to be entrenched in your first party. You cannot get them if they're not available. But more so, these are 2 studios that, if given a Marvel IP, let's say like Black Panther, for instance, or The Punisher, or something like that, listen, say what you want about Avengers. Avengers' story was dope. It was marred with microtransactions that were gross, and the stupid cosmetics were ridiculous, right? Yep. That's what ruined that game. The story and the graphics and the gameplay was amazing. And Eidos Montreal, I'm telling you right now, folks, if you have not played Guardians of the Galaxy,
great game.
I'm taking your gamer card, because that is probably one of the best games of the year that got little to no recognition because it was a Marvel game. It is freaking phenomenal, especially if you were a fan like I am of James Gunn. As a matter of fact, I wrote, and he actually retweeted and favored this. James Gunn himself, I said the writing in this was James Gunn level good. And if you missed out on that game, please go play it, because it was phenomenal. Look, like I said, I think that Microsoft finds themselves, and specifically Xbox, in a unique position where they close this deal. They're making some big power moves within. They're doing a lot of things with the community. A lot of interviews are being done. Phil has confirmed that they have 12 games, 12 AAA blockbuster games coming in the next 3 years. It's looking really, really good for Xbox, not so much for Sony. Sony's kind of on their back foot, folks. So for me, I go for the juggler. I'm like, we'll spend the money. They can still acquire the studios. They have a lot of money, and they're going to be making money specifically in mobile, hand over fist. They will recoup the spent money. But I just think that the dollars versus what it brings to your platform. I understand that console sales for Sony, it's the most important thing. It's not so much for Xbox, but it's still important. And if you can push your console, which could potentially, and I'm talking about the Series S, be down as low as $200 next year, and you can slap these two behemoth IPs on there as, hey, you can play those games here. One you can get in Game Pass day and day, and one may even come in a bundle. Who knows? It would be industry changing. I will say that. But listen, let me catch up on the super chats, and then we'll get there. We'll get into outros. We're gonna do a nice 2-hour show because Hargeet's not feeling well. I'm kind of starting to lose my voice a little bit, but real quick, Jay Rambert in the chat drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Good to see Dirt on Boom Show. Bots unite." Indeed, it's great to have him here. And thank you so much, Jay. Super appreciate the generosity. THX 1138 drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "The Game Awards plus GTA 6 equals EMP on December 7th. I love it. Web Dave, who's been a channel member for 26 months. Dave, thank you so much for the generosity. He says, "What a mega panel. K, Dutch, Hargeet, and WBG Dirt. Welcome." Thank you, brother. Super appreciate
What's up,
that.
Web Dave?
Gamer by Choice drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Take-Two may not want Xbox media penalty for GTA. They would not move against 2K. They're cowards. The game media is a bunch of cowards, and I don't think that it would actually, the marketing would affect them. Honestly, GTA is just too big, and this is going to be a monster game." Hitman drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "I think it's worth it the lifetime of GTA 10 plus years." Yeah, I absolutely agree. We have Juan in the chat, drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Is it enough to only have the marketing rights on Xbox? I saw a lot of people complaining that in the partner showcase, nothing was on Game Pass." But they don't. This is a game that, first of all, would be too much to put into Game Pass. They don't need it. They just need the marketing rights to be able to slap this on their Xbox. You got to remember, when Xbox does their big marketing, when they show this commercial, when the GTA 6 commercial is finally released, and it's and at the end of that commercial, it says Xbox. I'm telling you, it's going to be worth its weight in gold. Like, I don't have a degree in marketing, so what the heck do I know? But I'm just saying that from an outsider looking in, I think it's worth every penny. But that's just me. Spartan661, who's been a channel member for 3 months, brother, thank you so much for the generosity. He says, "If Sarah Bond gets GTA 6 on Game Pass, or even for a few months, 1 year exclusive, would cement her capabilities. She is a lioness for Xbox. She will be infinite." I think she's infinite already, but if she was able to listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. If they got game, oh my God, it just would. It's not possible. It's like literally impossible to get GTA 6 into Game Pass. So I think Microsoft would have to sell their firstborn. I don't know how you do that, but just getting the marketing rights, I think, would be enough. It really, really would. Swaggy C in the chat drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Do we think the PS5 Pro could just be a console that's more aligned with the Series X and T flops. Yes, I do think it's going to be aligned. I don't know if it's going to be much more powerful. Who knows? Sony, they just love raking us over the coals, so it could be just a pinch up. I mean, look what they did with the Slim. It's slimmer and it's $50 more. Like, it's just so typical of Sony. They're just disgusting. Adidas 20 dropped a very generous $10 super chat and says, "Boom, have dirt on the panel. That is good." I won't say it. And I absolutely agree. Love having dirt here, and it certainly will not be the last time. Called Weeb drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Why are we still pretending Sony is serious competition for a fully invested MS? Also, dial back expectations for Switch 2. I doubt GTA 6 will be on it." I hope it is. I just hope that that the next Switch is. Look, I play the Switch every day. Me and the missus are all into Animal Crossing. I hope they release one at the launch of this console because we're going to be all in it. I don't need Series X power for my Switch 2. I just don't. We are happy with the Switch being who the Switch is. That's good enough for us.
It'll be like the Series S, the lower tier Xbox.
It's going to be like the Series S. Yeah, it's exactly what it's going to be like.
It's coming.
It's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. Gamer by Choice drops an additional very generous $2 super chat and says, "GTA bundles game with shark cards helping sales." I got one even better for you. What if they added shark cards to, like, as the perks for Game Pass Ultimate? That would be kind of dope too. But listen, folks, this has been an amazing show. Thank you so much for the near 700 people that we had here today. Dirt, let's get you on out of here, brother. By all means, sell the brand. You and your incredible panel have crossed over 12K. Well deserved in your success. For you're out here on these YouTube streets doing it each and every day. By all means, sell the brand, brother. Tell everyone where they can check out your show each and every week, and more importantly, where they can subscribe. But where can people reach out to you on social media?
Oh, well, thank you, man. I appreciate the invite. Boom. I had a lot of fun. Guys, check out my channel, Dirt Griggity. I don't know if I can leave a link in the chat.
Yeah, you absolutely can. You absolutely can. Yeah, drop it in there.
Yeah, so I'm going to leave the link for my channel. Yeah, so check out my channel, guys. I do run a Pro Xbox channel. I do console war. So if you're not a fan of that, that's understandable. But just to let you guys know.
But you do it in a fun way. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not like angry about
personal attacks at people. Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I do have a lot of fun. So my podcast is on Monday evenings, WBZ Xbox podcast at 6 p.m. Eastern time. I also have another one-man podcast on Thursdays. I call it One Man Dark Man Podcast at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So check it out. Also do another podcast with my boy Sean on Fridays. Also, I do Addict Show on Wednesday. So I'm pretty busy throughout the week. But yeah, just check it out if you guys get a chance. I'm about to put the link in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Jay Varkett says Dirt's got those receipts. Indeed, he does. And folks, I'm here to tell you, don't be a D-bag on social media because you might just get got.
Yeah, I definitely.
You don't want to be a POS of the week and potentially a POS of the year. Don't do it. It's not good. Kay Asante, brother, let's sell the brand. Where could people check out the Gaming Circle podcast each and every Saturday morning with you and Everborn Saga, who, of course, has now emailed. Well, he's FedExed his knees to you because Mario has won and Sonic has lost. Talk about it, brother. Where can people subscribe and, more importantly, reach out to you on social media?
Yeah, it is what it is. No, it's been a great show. Salute to the man Dirt Griggity for the great takes as usual. Thank you for being here, brother. It's always good to hear from you, and of course the great panel members. I will say, yeah, catch us Game Circle Podcast GCP on Saturday. This Saturday, myself and the aforementioned Everborn Needless Saga will be talking about AI and gaming. It's been a conversation that people have been having and all that. We want to really dig deep into AI and what it's for and what it's not for, and maybe quell some of the FUD that's out there. Maybe have some real talk about that stuff. So it should be an interesting show this weekend. Come check us out. Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard. We're on your feeds. Check me out. TKO Santi on Xbox, PlayStation, all those places. And when I go live, you'll be able to see that we're there. And come join us on a Saturday morning and have some grown man talk. It'll be fun. Thank you guys for being here.
It's always a great time. And like I said, if you like watching brothers fight, which they do on a regular basis, go check out the Gaming Circle podcast, because it's always a fun conversation. And they sometimes have guests that pop in. Pixelbit G is a regular there, as well as so many others. And they always bring some great conversation to each and every show that you do. So thank you so much for not only doing that each and every week for us as the fans, but thank you, of course, for being here as well. Hargeet Chani, sell the brand of the Sauce Master known as Gaz, and of course, Game On Daily with Asa, the ninja. Of course, he has been unrelenting on social media, as Gaz is known to do. Not only do they have Game On Daily, the YouTube channel, he also has his own sauce channel, Septic Sauce, if you will. By all means, because people can't find you on social media, where can people find you on Discord and, of course, Xbox? But sell the brand of Game On Daily.
Yeah, so GameOnDaily.com, check that out, and then YouTube.com/GameOnDaily. And as Boob mentioned, Gaz has his own channel for all the sauce stuff, and that's Septic Sauce, so YouTube.com/Septic Sauce. Check that out. And then I am H Chani on Xbox and on Discord. You can check that out. And we finally got RDX back, so we're doing that every Tuesday at on Dealer's channel, Dealer Gaming's channel, Tuesday nights 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Check that out, and we'll be back here next week with Primetime Gaming.
Yes, thank you so much. And last and no way least, folks, I want to take the few minutes to let you know what he's doing, because he's gaming for charity, folks. He does it every year. Obviously, we want to give to him and give to his charities as much as we can. By all means, Wandering Dutch, please sell your brand, not only about your YouTube channel. Where can people reach out to you and more on social media, but more importantly, talk about the charity that you're doing literally right now.
Yeah. So we're so thank you again, and it's great to be back. Great to see everybody. Great to see Hargeet, and good to podcast with Dirt. Santi, thank you already for your donation, sir. Much appreciated. And great to see you guys. And Boom, likewise, thank you for having us back on again. As usual, it's been a while, but it's been good. But yeah, we're raising money for Special Effects. A Special Effect or a charity that help the physically disabled and those in intensive care units connect through innovative technology. So things like eye tracking or breathing devices or anything like that. So, for instance, they might be completely unable to use their arms. They might be completely mobility disabled entirely. So things that are able them to connect with friends, family, or even schooling, to be able to do those things and have some form of social life that kind of lets them escape. So that's what Special Effect help do, is provide a little bit of escape for them and connect them with everybody else via the means of technology, and obviously allow them to play video games like regular people do. So we're raising money for them. We have a lofty goal of 1,500 to hit. Of course, we've got a lot of things going on right now. So we've got multitudes of streamers doing streams all week, and I'm doing a 24-hour marathon stream on the weekend and a mountain climb at the end of the month as well. So that's what I'm doing for it. But yeah, it's an awesome stream. We do it every year. We've raised for cancer charities. We've raised for Special Effect last year as well. We've raised for children's cancer charities. So yeah, it means a lot if people can help and support. You can find me everywhere at Wandering Dutch, and of course you'll be able to find the streams on both YouTube and on Twitch, so you can't miss them, on Midweek Mix-Up on Twitch and Wandering Dutch on YouTube. And I will put the link in the chat as well for the Just Given link as well there. So if anybody wants to or can donate, that would be much appreciated. But yeah, been a blast, guys. Thank you very much for this.
No problem. Yeah, Mrs. Boom, we make our donation tomorrow, as we always done. We always support you and, of course, the charity that you are consistently supporting. So we want to be a part of that conversation as well. I'm glad that you put through the chat in there. Let's see. Gold, I believe in the chat, says, anyone doing a live stream to cover the VGA nominations? Yes, we are going to be doing that, covering that on this Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time of the, we do a show each and every week on Mondays at 12 noon, called the Xbox Lunch Break Special. We will be covering that among other things as well. If you want to subscribe, all you got to do is obviously just hit that subscribe button. And of course, if you want to be generous, hit the bell icon so you know when we go live. I do this 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, all good content, all great panels, and we never sell hate to get your click or your like. And of course, a big thank you to all of the very generous super chats that come in, and of course all the channel memberships that continue to support the show that we do 5 days a week. And one of the things, we gave away $500 in September. We gave away $500 last Friday, folks. This December, Mrs. Boomstick and I are doing something we've never done before. We have never given away this amount of money. It's going to be our 6th annual Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. Boomstick, folks, and we are giving away $1,500 in 2 hours, folks. And that money is, well, from the super chats and the channel memberships. We're not corporate sponsored, folks. Nobody knows that we exist. We are doing this only, we're doing it like the mom and pop style. So we're giving away in 2 hours 10 $100 gift cards and 2 grand prizes of $250 gift cards times 2. And if you are someone that lives outside of the Americas, guess what? We will send you your prize. Our only caveat is that we use PayPal to keep us secure. So if you win and you live outside of the Americas, we will, if you can, same way you support us, we will support you. And two winners. One was from Argentina and one was from Puerto Rico, and they got their prizes last Friday, or at least on Saturday when I was able to ship everything to them. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends. And I want to say thank you for checking out the channel. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you, you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends.